13 of the fantasy baseball season, and here's a few hitters I looked at this week. The first guy, Kerry Carpenter, the Detroit Tigers. So Carpenter, he's been up and down the season on fantasy rosters, but this year he's having a solid year and a breakout year is Carpenter with his Tiger team, getting more consistent playing time, and right now he's available in 76% of leagues on the season. 15 home runs, 41 RBIs, 34 runs scored, a 281 average, and a 341 on base. But over the last month of the season, he's really been hitting the ball well. 7 home runs, 20 RBIs, 16 runs scored, a 313 average, and a 337 on base. So right now, Carpenter, he's at an outside shot of hitting 25 home runs this season here with 15 right now, with about 40-plus games to go on the year. And right now, he's batting cleanup for this Tiger team on most nights. He's got a nice swing as Carpenter, and he really mashes righties as well. Last few games, August 9th versus the Twins, 2 for 5 in RBI. August 10th versus the Twins, 1 for 4 run. August 11th at Boston, 1 for 3 with a homer. August 12th at Boston, 2 for 4, 2 home runs in that one. And August 13th at Boston, 1 for 3. So right now, he's on a 6-game hitting streak, is Kerry Carpenter. He's showing power, he's playing every day. And this is the type of players the Tigers want to develop, and I think he's good for fantasy owners as an outfielder or a utility spot at the back end of your bench, and he can help you with RBIs and home runs. So Kerry Carpenter, one of the better pickups this week, and a guy definitely an ad, like I said, still out there, surprisingly in 76% of leagues. Next hit is Ke'Bryan Hayes of the Pittsburgh Pirates. So Ke'Bryan Hayes, he's been a former top prospect in the system here for this Pirate team, and we've seen flashes from him this season, but now he's starting to get things going once again. On the year, 8 home runs, 43 RBIs, 9 stolen bases, 38 runs scored, a 255 average, and a 290 on base. And over the last couple weeks, a 281 average, 3 home runs, 11 RBIs, 4 runs scored, a 294 on base. He's not drawing a lot of walks, but he's finding the holes here. It's Ke'Bryan Hayes, and he's getting an everyday opportunity as well. And he's the table setter right now for this Pittsburgh Pirate team. So the last few games for him, August 8th versus the Braves, 2 for 3, a homer, 3 RBIs. August 9th versus the Braves, 3 for 5, a homer, 3 ribs. August 10th versus the Braves, 2 for 5, a run, 3 RBIs. August 11th versus the Reds, 1 for 4 with a homer. And August 13th versus the Reds, 1 for 4. So right now he's showing power with 3 home runs in the week. He is Ke'Bryan Hayes. He's going to get the everyday chance. Like I said, he's batting leadoff over the last 5 games for this Pittsburgh Pirate team, and they got a good matchup coming up to start the week at the New York Mets. They have one of the worst pitching staffs in the league. So right now, while Hayes is available in 53% of fantasy leagues, he's definitely a hitter I would look to add this week. Next hit is Keibert Ruiz of the Washington Nationals. So Ruiz, he was one of the main trade chips in the Max Scherzer, Trey Turner deal a few years ago, and right now it's starting to pay off for this national team. On the season here for Ruiz, 14 home runs, 44 RBIs, 37 runs scored, a stolen base, a 250 average, and a 308 on base. But over the last month of the season, he's been playing great baseball. 5 home runs, 13 RBIs, 13 runs scored, a stolen base, a 326 average, and a 396 on base. And next season, especially Ruiz, he's going to be a top 12 catcher, I believe, with his upside, and obviously him maturing as more of a hitter over the last couple months now. After to start the year, he was off slow, but like I said, he was the top prospect in the Dodger system, and coming over in the Trey Turner and Scherzer deal. August 9th at Philly in that one, 0 for 1 with 3 walks. August 10th at Philly, 2 for 3. August 11th versus Oakland, 2 for 4, a homer, 3 runs scored. August 12th versus Oakland, 1 for 5, a homer. And August 13th versus Oakland, 3 for 5 with a run. So right now he's showing power. He's had 3 multiple hit games in the last 4 games. Here's Keibert Ruiz. And like I always say, catcher's a weak position. So right now, while he's out there in 55% of fantasy leagues, he definitely can help fantasy owners in the stretch run here. And he's definitely a hitter to pick up this week. Next is Ezekiel Duran of the Texas Rangers. So Duran, we know he's a utility man in fantasy baseball, but he plays pretty much every day. And I know he's been slumping of late for this Ranger team, but he's still a player out there in 53% of fantasy leagues that I think can help teams. And obviously, he's getting a lot of good pitches to hit in a stacked Texas Ranger lineup. So he qualifies at second, third, short, and outfield. So on the season here for Duran, 14 home runs, 43 RBIs, 45 runs scored, 7 stolen bases, a 282 average, and a 328 on base. I know over the last couple weeks, it's been a struggle for him, no doubt about it. Only 1 home run, 5 RBIs, 4 runs scored, 2 stolen bases, a 242 average, and a 316 on base. But I think he's going to get things going once again, is Duran. Like I said, he's available in a decent amount of 53% of leagues. And he can show power, can steal a couple bases. He could finish the year with 20 home runs, 15 bags. And I think that's what he's going to do in this stacked lineup, batting 7th for this Ranger team. August 8th at Oakland, 1 for 4 rib. August 9th at Oakland, that went 0 for 1, but he walked 3 times. August 11th at the Giants, 1 for 4. August 12th at the Giants, 3 for 4, 2 RBIs. And August 13th at the Giants, 2 for 3 with a run, a rib, and a stolen base. So he does a little bit of everything. He has opportunities up and down the lineup to get good pitches with all the good hitters like Adolis Garcia, Corey Seagull, Nathaniel Lowe, having a good year. Leody Taveras has been pretty decent, so the pitches will be there. The versatility is there. And he's a 4 or 5 category type of player, so definitely Duran, even though he's slumping a little bit. I would give him an ad this week. The next hit is Josh Bell of the Miami Marlins. So Josh Bell, it's been a good deal so far in the first few weeks here since he got dealt to the Miami Marlins for Gene Segura and a prospect. So on the season here for Bell, 15 home runs, 57 RBIs, 35 runs scored, a 241 average, and a 323 on base. But over the last couple weeks, like I mentioned, 4 home runs, 9 RBIs, 10 runs scored, a 277 average, and a 333 on base. I know Bell, he's been on 4 teams now in 2 years, where he was obviously, last season he started the year off with the Nats, then he got traded to the Padres, signed with the Guardians in the offseason, and now traded to the Marlins at this trade deadline. But anyway, he's showing power with his new Miami team. Obviously, they needed some pop in that lineup. They're trying to make one last run at one of the wild cards, and they just had a nice comeback victory versus the New York Yankees in yesterday's ball game, down 5 runs in the 9th inning. So the last few games here for Bell: August 8th at Cincinnati, 1 for 4. August 9th at the Reds, 2 for 4, 2 homers, 4 RBIs. August 11th versus the Yankees, 1 for 4, a homer. August 12th versus the Yankees, 1 for 4. And August 13th versus the Yankees, 1 for 3 with 3 runs and an RBI. So right now available in 60% of fantasy leagues here is Josh Bell. He's playing good baseball. He's batting second, a premium spot in the order for this Miami Marlins team. And he's in a playoff race right now. So he's definitely going to try to go out there, play good baseball, and try to get a bigger contract as well in the offseason as well. And right now, he's definitely a hitter I look to add this week. The next hit is his teammate, Jake Burger of the Miami Marlins. So the Marlins, they went out there at the deadline, and they made some moves here for some power that they needed in Burger and Josh Bell. So Burger right now in the season, 26 home runs, 58 RBIs, a stolen base, 48 runs scored, a 221 average, and a 288 on base. So we know Burger's not known for his batting average. We know he's known for his power with the 26 home runs on the season. But over the last couple weeks, he's hitting more for average since he got dealt to this Miami Marlins team. In that time, 1 home run, 6 RBIs, 4 runs scored, at 256 average, and a 356 on base. So maybe the hitting approach is a little bit different over there in Miami than it is in Chicago. And Jake Burger, he's been coming up clutch as well with a game-winning RBI in yesterday's ball game versus the New York Yankees. And he's batting usually 5th or 7th for his new team in Miami. August 8th at the Reds, 1 for 4 run. August 9th at the Reds, 1 for 4. August 11th versus the Yankees, 2 for 4 with 2 ribs. August 12th versus the Yankees, 2 for 3 with a run. And August 13th versus the Yankees, 3 for 5 with 2 RBIs. So right now, Berg is still out there in 71% of fantasy leagues. And I've been talking about Burger over the last few weeks as a hitter that could pay dividends and help fantasy owners, especially with the power. But now if he's mixing in some average with it, which he is over the last 2 weeks since he got traded to the Marlins, he's definitely a guy that can help fantasy owners in a big way. And a hitter to add this week, the next hit is Max Kepler of the Minnesota Twins. Our former top prospect here is Max Kepler in this Twin system, but it just hasn't really panned out for him the first few seasons in the major leagues. So this year, though, 19 home runs, 46 RBIs, 47 runs scored, at 238 average, and a 300 on base. And over the last couple weeks here, he's playing good baseball. 4 home runs, 7 RBIs, 8 runs scored, at 275 average, and a 326 on base. At Kepler right now, available in tons of fantasy leagues here at 83%. And he's a guy that's going to show power, hitting 4th to the 6th range usually in this Minnesota Twin lineup. And like I said, they need some pop in that lineup, and they're trying to hold on to a weak AL Central lead. August 9th at the Tigers, 1 for 5 a rib. August 10th at the Tigers, 0 for 4. August 11th at the Phillies, 1 for 2 with a homer. August 12th at the Phillies, 2 for 5 with a run and a rib. And August 13th, he pinched it in that ball game at Philly, 0 for 1. So right now, he's playing good baseball for this Twin team. He has been added in 8% of fantasy leagues. I'm not saying in all fantasy leagues to go out there and get him, but 12-team leagues or deeper, obviously, I think he's going to be a player that can help you a little bit in showing some power. Is Max Kepler. And right now, he's an ad this week. Next hit is Mitch Garver of the Texas Rangers. So obviously, with the injury to Jonah Heim, Mitch Garver's taken over the catching spot for this Texas Ranger team. And he's batting in a premium spot in a good lineup over the last few weeks here. Batting fifth since Heim's gone down with injury. On the season, 8 home runs, 30 RBIs, 21 runs scored, a 282 average, and a 356 on base. And over the last month, really good. 4 home runs, 13 RBIs, 8 runs scored, a 318 average, and a 384 on base. So right now, Mitch Garver, even though in his Minnesota Twin days, he was a solid hitter and showed a lot of power, but he just can never stay healthy. And that's been the same story with him usually with this Ranger team over the last couple seasons. But now with Heim out and him getting an opportunity, he's taking advantage of it, is Garver. And right now available in 84% of leagues. August 7th at the A's, 3 for 4, 2 ribs. August 8th at Oakland, 0 for 5. August 9th at Oakland, 0 for 1. August 11th at the Giants, 1 for 4 with a homer. And August 12th at the Giants, 3 for 5 with a run and 3 RBIs. He's getting prime RBI opportunities. He's in one of the better lineups, if not the best. It's obviously debatable with them in the Atlanta Braves this season at full health. But anyway, Garver's playing good baseball, catches a weak fantasy position. And right now, owners who need a catcher definitely should go out there and get him this week. The next hit is Mike Tauchman of the Chicago Cubs. So he's been a big part of this Cub team and their resurgence over the last month of the season, where they were pretty much going to be sellers at the deadline. And they went out there and made some moves to improve this team and try to sneak in to one of the wild card spots. On the season for Tauchman, 7 home runs, 42 RBIs, 44 runs scored, 5 stolen bases, a 278 average, and a 374 on base. He's been the table setter most nights than not for this Cub team, batting leadoff and playing good baseball. So right now available in 57% of fantasy leagues. He's got power, he's showing some RBIs, he could steal some bases here and there. And he's got a good eye on the plate. Even with the New York Yankees, we saw some flashes from Tauchman, but now getting an everyday chance with this Cub team. He's playing good baseball. August 8th at the Mets, 2 for 3, a homer. August 9th at the Mets in that one, he pinched it and drew a walk. August 11th at the Blue Jays, 1 for 4, a rib. And August 12th at Toronto, 0 for 4. So right now, playing pretty much 5-6 days a week here, Tauchman. He's going to bring you on base percentage. He's going to show underrated power and steal some bases. And right now, he's got a good matchup coming up this week to start the week. Versus the White Sox and then versus the Royals, 2 weak pitching staffs, which I think he could take advantage of. And right now, he's an ad this week. And the final hit I looked at is Nolan Jones of the Colorado Rockies, so a former top prospect in the Guardian system a few years ago. It just didn't pan out, but this season, we've seen some good flashes here from Jones. He tore it up in the minor leagues, hitting over 340. He came up mid-May, early June. And this season now, obviously with all the trades, the CJ Cron going, Randall Grichuk trading away, it opened up a spot here for Jones. And also with the Chris Bryant injury on the season, 11 home runs, 29 RBIs, 27 runs scored, 7 stolen bases, a 272 average, and a 354 on base. So he's really got a good eye at the plate. He's got a sweet swing. He shows some good power. And he plays at Coors Field, obviously, which is always a plus. It's a hitter's haven over there. And the last couple weeks, 2 home runs, 7 RBIs, a stolen base, 5 runs scored, a 293 average, and a 375 on base. If you're looking for some pop and batting average a little bit and on base percentage, Nolan Jones definitely could bring that to fantasy owners. And he's a hitter there this week, available, like I said, in 71% of leagues. August 9th at the Brewers, 1 for 4, run and a rib. August 10th at the Dodgers, 0 for 3. August 11th at the Dodgers, 1 for 3. August 12th at the Dodgers, 0 for 3. And August 13th at the Dodgers, 0 for 4. So the last couple games, a little bit off here is Jones, especially strikeout rate has been high this season. But besides that, he's doing everything else that can help fantasy owners. And like I said, he's got good versatility, first and outfield. So that's a few hitters I looked at here on week 19 of a fantasy baseball season with only a few weeks left before the playoffs for head-to-head leagues, which is obviously crucial to get these players and move up the standings.